So most cameras typically only have 3 autofocus modes, and they differ depending on which type of camera you have. So I'll show you what it's like for Canon first. Here you can see I have my autofocus select button. So I click this and I can select between 3 different modes: one-shot, AI focus, and AI servo. Now one-shot is very self-explanatory. Each time you press the shutter button halfway down, your camera will find a focus. Let me get rid of the lens cap. You can hear it focusing. And then it won't find a focus until you release the shutter button and press it halfway down again. However, if you're shooting sports photography, this isn't very good because your subject could move and you can lose the focus because your camera only focuses one time. That's when you would switch to AI servo, which just means that your camera will never stop focusing. The subject could be moving, you could be moving, it doesn't matter, your camera will just continuously keep focusing and keep track of the subject. Then your third focusing mode is AI focus. Now AI focus chooses for you whether your subject is moving or stationary. Your camera tries to detect that and it'll select which one to use. Unfortunately, I wouldn't really recommend AI focus because most of the time your camera has trouble telling if your subject is moving. So those are the 3 focusing modes for Canon. On Nikon, they're exactly the same thing, except they're just sort of differently abbreviated. Instead of writing it out, they might have AFA, AFS, and AFC. And all that means is autofocus automatic, autofocus continuous, and autofocus single. So autofocus single would be sort of like one-shot, autofocus continuous would be sort of like AI servo, and then autofocus automatic would obviously be AI focus. So besides the 3 autofocus modes, you clearly have the manual focus modes, which can be activated by switching it on your lens, or if you're on a Nikon, you can do it via the camera. So, manually focusing is very simple when you're looking through the viewfinder. However, if you want to be more precise, you can actually turn on your live view, which just turned itself off, and focus this way. But the reason you would want to use live view is because you can actually zoom in more to make sure your focus is actually spot on. You can zoom in 5 times or even 10 times and then adjust the focus again. As you can see now, I have perfectly focused on the pillows all the way back there that are on that couch seat. So that's a little trick that most cameras with live view have. So when you're using autofocus mode and you're using one of the 3 autofocus modes that we were talking about, you also have control over focus points that you can see through your viewfinder. Here you see that I have it set to automatic, so now my camera will focus to the closest thing that it finds. However, I can also manually select each one of these little squares depending on what I want to focus on. So if I choose this right one, my camera will focus to whatever is on that right little block. You can choose any one of these. I think I happen to have 9 points, but your camera might have 3, 5, however many it has. You can select them on a Canon via the autofocus point selection button, and you can scroll. Sometimes you can even set it to the D-pad, where you can just click arrows on the D-pad to select which one. On Nikon, it works the same way. And all I would do is simply use this D-pad.